Hello Buller students and welcome to my first composition tutorial. The clip you just watched was of my 16 bar theme. Now granted it was not the best composition ever, or in fact would probably not get great marks at GCSE at this point. However, what it is a really good starting point to base a composition around, and the more you do this process of writing melodies to chords and so on, the better you'll become at it. It's just practice. So in this tutorial I'm going to talk through how to go about writing a theme, a 16 bar theme, and doing it from chords as a starting point. And I've done mine for an instrument and piano accompaniment. Now, the first thing you have to do is select an instrument. I would suggest selecting the one that you play. I've chosen a clarinet as my instrument, and for the accompaniment I have chosen a piano. Piano is probably the easiest option for accompaniment, but there are others. So don't limit yourself to the piano if that's not what you want to do. Once you've done this, you'll need to select a key for your composition. This will provide you with the building blocks for it. The key will give you 7 different notes that you can use to compose initially. So I've chosen C major, so here it is. Remember to select your key using the circle of fifths to work out the key signature, or select a note as your tonic and then count tone, tone, semitone, tone, 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 semitone to get your 7 different notes. Once you have your key, you can build chords from each note, and it's using these chords that we will start our composition. Each chord has a Roman numeral assigned to it, dependent on which degree of the scale it is built from. For example, chord 5 is built on the dominant because G is the 5th note of the C major scale. On each note of the scale, you can build a chord simply by what I like to call building the snowman. So just by stacking every other note on top of each other, like this. Now, from these chords you can build a progression, and it sort of doesn't matter which ones you use because they're all from the same key. Now, there are some fancy rules about functional harmony that usually tell us which chords go well together. For example, think of a perfect cadence, 5 going to 1, but we don't have to worry about this now. Composition is all about repetition and contrast. So once you have a nice 4-chord progression, use it again to make 8 bars. Then try a different 4-bar sequence of chords, maybe the same chords but in a different order, and then finally repeat the first 4 bars to make it 16. Now you can choose your chords randomly from your list of chords. Just a quick note, I normally avoid chord 3 and chord 7 at first at least. There are some fancy harmony reasons as to why these chords just aren't as nice or as useful as the others, but don't worry about that now. Or you can use the tic-tac-toe grids and start on one chord and then move to another and so on until you've got your 4-chord progression to start with. Once you have selected your chords, you can see mine here on the screen. You can either record them by writing them down and playing them on your instrument, or by inputting them into a program like Sibelius or MuseScore. You can see how I've done this on the screen here. Okay, so let's listen to my 16 bar chord progression on the piano. The next thing will be to create a melody to fit with my chords. To do this, you must make sure that the notes that fall on the strong beats belong to the chord. You can see in my example, all of the notes of the melody are from the accompanying chords. So for example, in the first bar, the chord is C major, which has a C, E and a G in it. Therefore, I've only used these 3 notes to build my melody in this bar, and so on with the others. This is what my melody sounds like for the first 4 bars. Now, that was nice, but a little too simple, as the melody is completely triadic. All of the melody notes come from the chords. To develop the melody and make it sound a little bit more interesting, I can add non-harmonic tones. These are notes that do not fit the chord, but perform a different function. Today we're only going to use the two simplest, passing notes and neighbour notes, often called auxiliary notes. The definition for each of these notes is on the screen, and you should be able to see how I have used them to develop my melody. Now listen to the first 4 bars of my developed melody. Hopefully you can hear that it sounds different. Much better. Okay, all you have to do now is follow this process for every 4-bar section in your 16-bar theme. Through this, you will create a 16-bar theme with the form AABA. Where you have a repeat of the 4-bar section, you may wish to vary the rhythm or the pitch slightly to keep it interesting. Everything I've composed for this theme has come from the plan that I made earlier. Have a listen to the finished one.